Proving chimney cake dough is essential. It allows the yeast to create air pockets, making the dough rise, light and fluffy. It also improves flavor, texture, and makes shaping easier. Skipping any of the 3 rising stages can result in dough that's dense, flat, and even undercooked. Here's a brief overview of the 3 stages of rising. First stage, bulk rise. After kneading, the dough is removed from the mixer, shaped into a smooth ball, and placed in a food-safe container with enough space to double in size. It's brushed with oil, covered with a lid, and left to rise at 25 to 27 degrees Celsius for about 1 hour. Second stage, portion rise. Once risen, the dough is divided into portions by weight. Each piece is rolled into an even sausage shape and placed in a container with space between them. The portions are brushed with sunflower oil, covered and left to rise again. Third stage, final rise on the roll. Each risen portion is rolled into a strip and wrapped around a cooking roll. The rolls are then placed in a rotisserie dough proofer or on a rack for the final rise before baking. Now let's look at all 3 stages in more detail, starting with stage 1, the bulk rise. Bring the mixing bowl over to your work surface and use a dough scraper to transfer the kneaded dough onto it. Ideally, use a laminate surface, as it holds warmth better than stainless steel, which can cause the dough to shrink back. Once the dough is on the surface, knead and shape it into a neat ball. Try to do this without using any additional flour, as it can dry out the dough. When you've formed an evenly shaped ball, place it into a food-safe plastic container large enough to allow room for the dough to rise outward and upward. Lightly brush the top of the dough with sunflower oil to prevent it from drying out. Cover with a lid and leave it to rise for 1 hour, or until it doubles in size. The ideal rising temperature is between 25 and 27 degrees Celsius. Now we move on to stage 2, portion rise. We've prepared a downloadable guide, accessible via a QR code, that lists all of our cooking rolls and the recommended dough quantities for each, whether you're making a sweet or savory product. Turn the risen dough out onto the work surface. Using both hands, fold the dough over onto itself, then roll and squeeze it to stretch it into a long, even strip. Next, use the sugar blade to cut the strip into equal pieces. Weigh each piece on a kitchen scale to get the correct portion size, adding or removing dough as needed. The exact weight depends on the product you're making and the size of the cooking roll. Once portioned, roll each piece first into a small ball, then into a sausage shape. This shape helps the dough rise in the right direction, making it easier to roll into the final strip that wraps around the cooking roll. Place the dough sausages into a food-safe container, leaving space between them so they don't stick together as they rise. Brush with sunflower oil, cover with a lid, and let them rise in a warm environment for at least 10 minutes before rolling. You can also refrigerate the dough sausages to slow the rising process. This lets you use them later without overproofing. Now to the third stage, the final rise on the cooking roll. After wrapping the dough strip around the cooking roll, lightly brush it with sunflower oil and coat it with sugar. Place the roll on a rack and leave it to rise before baking. You'll be able to see the dough rise as it proofs, and with practice, you'll learn when it's ready to go into the oven. If you're working in cooler conditions, or you want to speed up this third rise, we recommend using our dough proofer. Don't skip this step, otherwise the chimney cake may look baked on the outside, but still be undercooked inside. One of the most common mistakes chimney cake bakers make is not letting the dough rise enough at this stage, which will result in raw dough.